Welcome, everybody. I'm always nervous for about 10 minutes, so half of the speech I will be completely nervous and a mess. And I thank everyone for being in here and I know it's at the end and everybody's a little tired, but this is going to be really interesting to watch. I've been in the business for, I would say, 30 plus years, so it's dating my age. But I'm probably one of the first pioneers in the United States and probably all around the world to do what I'm doing. I've been very fortunate enough to be able to create memories for clients, not only in the United States, but all over the world. And I'm going to talk to you about Supermacy of flowers. Obviously, I started in a floral business and then led into more overall design, doing the lighting, the set design, producing and so forth. I'm not a planner. I don't wish to be a planner because it's enough for me to walk into the space and show the reveal to the client and walk away from it. I just can't be a planner. I just don't have that patience. I mean, when you're dealing with them for 6 months out, you don't want to see them for another 12 hours, let's put it that way. So I design using 5 senses, really actually 6 sense. The 6th sense is the magic that we create, right? I need to change that by, it's not 25 years. It needs to be 30 somewhere years. What is supremacy? It's a state of condition of being superior to all others in authority, power, or status, okay? I use flowers as the main focal points on the events that I create. What would a wedding be without flowers? Nothing, right? It's the one thing that has the aha moment when you do the reveal to the client. I want to show you before and after. Flowers can't just only transform, they also take you to another place. Look at this hideous room. It's hideous, okay? I mean, it's hideous. I mean, look at the draping, it's like from 1980s and the chair is even worse, right? And look at what I created onto the right, that's left, right? This is what we have. We all have the power of doing this. Look at this. The cake must be about 6 feet tall, by the way, just so you know. So I communicate a lot with my clients, and different clients have different processes I go through. Some get sketches, some get renderings, and some get actual video presentations, right? Besides mood boards, this is what we do. We kind of give them an overall feeling of the event. This is what the event looks like. Okay? All these on top are silk. Okay? Sometimes you don't have enough time to produce an event. You have to know your materials you're using, right? Don't think, oh, it's such a bad thing to use silk flowers. First, they cost more money, even though we're recycling it, but they cost more money. But look at the effect. This is an event that I did 2 years ago, and it was a wedding that I didn't even want to take, believe it or not. The bride's mother came in 2 weeks before, and she says, I don't think we have enough flowers for the event. This is what we gave them. This is when this past weekend, it's a 50th anniversary party for a gentleman. 50th birthday party, I'm sorry, not an anniversary. The room is hideous again. That dance floor, that black and white checkered, it's too bold. If you look at the carpet, it's very patterned. We ended up carpeting the whole place. Didn't do much draping in the room because the architecture of the room, the walls were really, really pretty. We just did a facade. We did a vinyl on the dance floor, did a cake display. Look at this. I hate using white for weddings. I really, really do. Because I don't think it has enough depth to create some magic. But with this, we're able to use a lot of different textures. And it was magical. I mean, when I first met the bride, she was very angelic. And I tend to push my brides to do color. And with her, she's so angelic that I had to create this all white feeling. And lighting is really crucial to white. Remember that. Look at this. It's crazy. Again, this is white, right? So, but white can be used in so many different ways. The architecture, the lighting in the room is quite different in this one. So it makes a big difference. I'm all about drama, obviously. If you ever know me, if you guys know me personally, I'm always drama. Okay? Always. And I like to get in trouble all the time. Look at how the scale of the room. This is a really big cathedral that's a venue. We've done many events there together, so this is also white, but we've added a touch of that blush color that every bride wants. I want white and blush, or white and blush. If anyone tells me I can do an all-white wedding or an all-white beige wedding, I'm going to kill myself. But we used different layers of colors, like you see, like flowers are always important in my work, always. Not because I'm just a florist, I think that it's so important to have that luxury. Fresh flowers have that luxury, right? Even if you're using silk flowers up on the ceiling or whatever it is, you have that abundance. Look at what we did. We did a gold vinyl, and there's a ceiling treatment. Every reflection on that made it twice as more richer than it did before, right? I mean, they couldn't be any more happier. We started with a $50,000 budget. They ended up spending $150,000. It's very easy to upsell your client. You just need to know what you're doing. I mean, you know what I mean. It's the art of selling. You really need to be confident and know what you're talking about, because they actually don't even know what they want. They really don't. We're the magicians that always say to our client, you dream, we're going to dream bigger for you. This is how you get there. This is an all-white wedding again. Again. The only reason it looks different is because we did green draping and the lighting, and there's a lot more texture. But look at this. This has been published in many magazines, I think. I did their parents' wedding 28 years ago. So when their only daughter was getting married, I found out that if they were thinking about going to somebody else, do you know what I did? I got on the phone, I said, Lina, this is not happening, you're not going anywhere. This is the results. Again, white with a little touch of color, okay? So this is why you see the flowers, the greenery. This makes it, imagine having a gazebo and chandeliers or no flowers and candles. This would do nothing. I love this because this is a unique client that we ended up doing something for, that they wanted a lot of like the brown tones and the neutral tones that we see a trend of. And we added a touch of black. I think the black was the sexy. Again, this is the ceremony of that bride and groom that I just showed you a little while ago with the gold dance floor and the white flowers. I wanted to create something different. These structures are about 14 feet tall, and the whole ceremony was about 20 feet wide. So it was a big statement. And the only reason I didn't do white for the ceremony is because I wanted them to be taken into different parts of the event, right? So starting from the ceremony to the cocktail to the reception, they had 3 different feelings. This is an epic wedding. This is one I worked on for like 2 years. It was happening, it wasn't happening, it was happening. This was featured in Lebanese weddings. Lebanese weddings actually came down and featured this wedding. They're one of my favorite couples. If you look at the ceiling treatment, this was all outside and it was tented in their backyard. There was 2 weeks of production, and it was hot. But we ended up doing baby stuff that was painted, if you can tell it up on the ceiling. It was quite epic. And I use a lot of color because it was really important. Monochromatic, right? It's another strong statement. Again, flowers hanging from the ceiling, tone on tone. It looks incredible. This is all over the place. We had flowers. So this venue took go back. We're not allowed to do anything on the ceiling. It's about 20 feet tall. There's no rigging points. We have to do trussing in order to get any rigging points. I convinced the clients, which is the owner of the complex, the venue, to make rigging points up on the ceiling so I can do this for my stuff as well. This is past. And look at the dance floor. I used 2 tones of vinyl, a flat and a shiny, to give it pattern and some texture. I love color. This is very apparent. This is actually Annie's shower, the one that you saw, the all-white wedding. I wanted to complete something opposite for her bridal shower that she wouldn't have expected. Look at this. I mean, there's so many layers. Again, flowers are an important necessity. Even the floral print tablecloth made a really big difference. How am I doing on my slides? Okay. Did you guys see that room I just showed you that I did the daughter's wedding for? This is the same room. Okay? What I did with this room is I blacked it out. The groom didn't want any black at the wedding, which is usually the opposite. The men want black, the women don't want black. I had to convince him 3 days before the wedding. I was like, the bride wants black, dude. What is wrong with you? It's her wedding. This is what we ended up creating for them. And it's all baby sweat in 2 different shades. That's all we use. But look how important that abundance of one type of flower made the whole event just epic for me. Look at that. They look like they're floating. Same room. I do quite a lot of events in this room. Again, we created this candle wall. Again, flowers are a major part of this wedding. You don't see a lot of details because it's not very photography, but it was another wedding. Listen, we can do the best work. Lighting is important. Photography is even more important. We can't create all these beautiful events and so sometimes in the beginning when I first started, I used to hire my own photographer to come in and take pictures of events because I didn't trust the photographers that were doing the photography for the wedding, or they didn't have time. Sometimes they don't have enough time to go into the details. And for us, that's all we live for, right? It's the photography for the events. You see more details in here. We had the cake in the middle. It was all in fold. Again, see, flowers for me are the most important at a wedding. This is a wedding I did in 2018. I know it seems like it's far away, but I don't count the pandemic here, so this is 3 days of production. The whole ceiling was covered. We started with trussing, and then we blocked it out, and then we did all the rigging of the flowers. Look, we have flowers all over the ceiling. It's crazy. This is an event that I did. It's a baptism. It's not a wedding. It's for a male and a female, a boy and a girl. But the theme was blue. If you can see, even though the flowers are a big thing, for me it's all about details. I ended up vinyling the table to do that pattern. If you can see, that matches the cake. So everything that I do kind of has to have a thread. Even though flowers are important, everything has to make sense. Color combination, proportion, scale, right? How does it feel? Look at this. I mean, the clients didn't even know what they're getting, right? My clients, most of the time, not all the time, will trust me to the last detail. I kind of tease them throughout the whole process. I show them a little, hey, it's this color, or it's this pattern, or it's this. The reason I don't give everything away, I find myself a true artist, right? You don't tell a true artist how to paint that canvas. So I want to always have that freedom and that power and that control to make changes on that spot. I'm always prepared to change. I'm a crazy artist. I might come in and not like anything that I created or wanted to create and change it up. This is the result of craziness. This is another epic party, right? Everything that you see on that ceiling treatment is foam, but looks real, right? The client doesn't know, and made it the statement. This is the statement that you always have to have one focal point in the room to be epic, okay? Whether it's the bride and groom's seating area, or whether it's the entrance. Right now, the focus has been less on what goes on the tables, is more so where the bride and groom are sitting, and so forth. Oh, that's me, and I'm 5 minutes early. If you guys want to know more, you can do the QR code. I'm open to answer any questions because I know it's all about design and the supremacy of flowers. So I'm open to any questions that you guys have. I thank you guys for being patient and being very glorious. I can see. You have a question? You have a question? Where are you, Rob? My assistant's not doing a really good job today. I'm so sorry.
Do better. That was amazing. Beautiful work. I wanted to find out if, let's say you get into you see a venue that doesn't have any trussing and everything else. How else do you do the follows on the city to go down?
A trussing system. You're bringing your own trussing system if the budget allows. If not, then it's a no. It's definitely no. Because it takes a lot of work too, and it gets expensive depending on where you are. Trussing gets really expensive. There's a lot of work that goes into trussing. I mean, I know that when we're doing events like this, and like the one that you saw all white had a trussing system, but you really don't see it because it's white on white, so it kind of disappears.
So we had some venues that won't allow us to bring in our own trussing. Wow.
They don't.
Some venues, no, we can't do that.
See, here's the thing. I don't take no for an answer.
I like that.
I really don't, because at the end of the day, if I need to create something for the wedding that you saw that I did in 2018, we sold the client on the project without even knowing our production time. We sold the client on the idea, and then the hotel said, oh, we're only allowing you 1 day before. There's no way you can produce a wedding when you're doing, flooring, ceiling, walls, florals, rentals in 1 day. There's no way, especially for a 650 people wedding. So when I went back to the hotel, I was like, listen, I can't go back to the client, you know who the client is. I can't tell the client he can't get this for his daughter's wedding. Because what are we going to do? So we figured out a way that the ballroom was broken in 3 increments, that we started in the middle of the section of the ballroom, thank God it was available, and then we went out. So there's always ways a solution. When they say no, ask them why. Why are they telling you no? Is it a liability thing, or is it because of timing? Whatever it is, try to figure out getting what you want. I don't take no for an answer because I'm working for my client. So if I'm dreaming bigger than for them, I'm going to get the best possible result.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we have a couple more questions. Also, our panelists for our next presentation, we need you to head back and put your microphones on. So.
Hi, Eddie. Thank you very much for the lovely presentation. I absolutely love your work. I'm sure everyone does.
Thank you.
So I have a question when it comes to design. So what inspires you, first of all? Second, when you are designing, do you rely only on your imagination of how this place would look like based on the elements that you collected from the client? Or you need to print and design and put all the pieces together so you can see the full picture, because imagination is not always working well with some clients. I'm sure your imagination is beyond. But for clients, how do you convince them that this would actually look beautiful with this pattern, with this flower, with this?
Even if I do all of that, that's a great question. Even if I do that, right? Even if I do a PowerPoint presentation, I do, like this is what the chart is, this is what the glass is, this is the pattern, this is what we're thinking. They still don't have the imagination that we do. They really don't, guys. So, I approach my business, bless you, I approach my business quite differently, right? I always say, you're coming to me because I'm an artist. So you either trust me or you don't. It's really simple, right? If I see that the bride or the couple is kind of going to be controlling, or a type A person, remember I'm a type A personality, so it's really hard to control me. So, if I see that we're not going to get along, I probably won't take the client, right? Because I can't lead them to where I want them. And that's very difficult to do, because if someone's not open, right, because they don't know what patterns go together. They don't know what colors to go. We're the masters at what we do. So you have to own it. That's the one thing you have to own it. You can direct them, you can show them some stuff. Even with sketches, even with 3D rendering, it's not even the same because there's such nuances, there's such details that it doesn't happen until you walk into that space and they see the scale, right? When you look at a picture, right, if we look at a ballroom, let's look at this, right? Until you're in it, you don't see the scale of it. And that's a big issue that a lot of designers have. They just design without knowing the space. You have to know your space. And you have to know your clients, how far you can push them. It's really important.
Hello, it's so beautiful. I'm inspired of you, and I want you to ask, my name is Ksenia, I'm from Russia, and I want you to ask, what is inspires you? Inspires to this job, or it's not a job, it's art. You are art. Thank you.
Thank you. So a lot of things inspires me. People inspire me, like the couple or the client inspires me. Architecture inspires me. Fashion inspires me. Color inspires me. Food inspires me. So a lot of things. I tend to be that kind of person that absorbs everything, and I pay attention. I might not say anything to you, but I know what you're wearing, what color lipstick you have, what kind of ring you have, all that stuff. So I pay attention to a lot of detail. I absorb because there's so much to see out there. If you just go outside and pay attention to this beautiful. When I walked in the hotel, right, I was like, oh my God, look at all the details. It's Egyptian, right? But there's so much authenticity to what they've done. It's not like the tacky Egyptian that they've done. So there's so much history in architecture. If you look at that, patterns, colors, nature, everything inspires. You should just be able to absorb. That's all I can tell you. And whatever inspires you, right? Yes.
Right here.
Thanks.
Got that one, we'll go right here.
Time's up?
Hi.
No.
Hi, I'm Nessa, and I'm very so coming back to similar to the question that you had about trussing. What happens when you have a logistical limitation or a limitation related to the weather? I just give you an example. We had to do an event, and the event needed trussing because it was a fashion-based event, but the ceiling was only 12 feet high. So we could only do so much. We couldn't put on installations, we couldn't have chandeliers.
My question to you, how far in advance did you know that the ceiling was 12 feet tall? Really, I mean, you have to go in knowing what you're doing, right? Like you need to know what your capabilities are before you pitch the idea to the client. If I walk into a room and the room is 10 feet high, there's no way I'm going to tell the client that they're going to do something of a truss or hanging. There's no way I'm going to sell that idea.
The idea was not sold, but it was actually recognized one of the very and we so you pick everything and then you bring in the design.
So usually what I try to do is I like to have control from the beginning. Because if you sign a contract with the hotel, but the hotel tells you you have 5 hours of setup time, which most hotels do, because they want to turn over the room as much as they can, then it's going to be impossible for me to create anything in 5 hours. I had a wedding at a hotel, Costa del Mar in Santa Monica, and it's a typical American hotel where you have 4 hours before that the wait staff comes in. I was like, and this woman, it was an Ethiopian woman that we were doing the wedding for, and she wanted, I mean, she saw all of these events. She walked into the event that I was doing. She's like, you're hired. I'm like, okay. Not knowing what her budget was going to be, my team started with a $50,000 budget. We sold her $150,000 at the end of the day. But again, you know, when some people are spending money, you have to really hold their hand. And she also wanted a lot of things that were impossible for us to create from the beginning. So we were always clear in communication. It's not going to be possible for the time that is given to us. We kept communicating with the hotel until we figured out that we had one day before the wedding, right, on Friday to set up. So we got to do a lot of the things that we wanted to do that we originally couldn't do. This is why the budget went 50 to 150 in a matter of a week or so. So you have to be ready. You have to also have a team ready to be able to produce that for you. You have to always communicate. For me, it's all about communication with my vendors, with my team, and with my clients. Even though I say I don't communicate a lot, I do tease them a lot. Meaning, I give them enough information that they need to know.
Okay, we have time for one last question. Right there.
I'm Paloma from the Wedding House, India. Thoroughly inspired by your work. I would like to know, when you enter an empty space, if it's a large venue or a venue is of this size, when do you know in the feeling that this is what I'm going to do? Keeping in mind all the limitations of the venue, but if you have a large enough venue, do you have certain templates in your mind, this formula, this, okay, this works here, or you just go impromptu and then you experience what you think is going to create that magic? What is the formula you work with?
I do have a formula. To be honest with you guys, let me start back a little bit telling you about myself. I was studying to become a chemist, so a chemist is very formula oriented. So if you look at design, it's the same way. This has the same principles that you have to follow. What I look at is, when I look at the space, first and foremost, I look at the scale of the room, because that's the most important for me, right? Because if you do have limitations where the ceiling and so forth, it's going to be hard to pitch the idea. Then I listen to the client very briefly, meaning I don't mean to sound like I'm pompous, I don't listen to my clients, I do listen to my clients. But enough to understand what they're looking for. Just enough. Or I ask the right questions, or I say, what do you think that you want? And they'll be, I want something all pink. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have bubble gum all over, and then that'll make me vomit, and then, you know, so forth. So I refrain, and I don't talk during the first meeting, I listen a lot. And they're like, hey, what are you thinking? I'm like, I don't know. And I know what I'm gonna do. I already have an idea, I just don't tell them. Because I need to curate it the way I want.